Hey everyone, I'm Rachel, the Elder Millennial, and today I have a list of movies turning 50 in 2025. So, we'll start off with one of my favorites, Return of the Pink Panther. Now, this is the third movie in the Inspector Clouseau series, with Peter Sellers returning in the title role. And the plot is pretty simple. After a priceless diamond known as the Pink Panther goes missing, Clouseau is appointed to investigate the case. Now, growing up in a Christian household, this was one of the rare series we got to watch all the time. My father absolutely loved Inspector Clouseau. If you've never heard of the Pink Panther, Inspector Clouseau, or even Peter Sellers, make this series one of the first on your watch list. Now, Funny Lady is actually the sequel to Funny Girl, and where we met Fanny Brice and her rise to fame and marriage to Nicky Arnstein. Set during the Great Depression, spoiler alert, Fanny's marriage to Nicky Arnstein ends in divorce and she struggles with her career. Then she meets Billy Rose, a brash nightclub owner and songwriter who convinces her to star in his show. But will working together create a successful show, or will a complicated romantic relationship develop? You might be wondering how a movie weaves together the lives of 24 characters over 5 days in the country music capital of Nashville, and that's exactly what Nashville does. You've got Haven Hamilton, a country star with a penchant for flashy white suits. Then there's Barbara Jean, the reigning queen of country music. Meanwhile, a political campaign is brewing with a candidate who asks deep questions like, "Does Christmas smell like oranges to you?" Spoiler, it does apparently. The campaign team is trying to rope in country stars for a rally, but it's like herding cats with guitars. In the midst of all of this, you've got a gospel singer, a lonely soldier, a runaway wife, and a ladies' man who's basically the Casanova of country music. This satirical film was directed by Robert Altman. Shampoo, directed by Hal Ashby, is another satirical comedy set against the backdrop of the 1968 US presidential election. The film follows George Roundy, a charismatic and promiscuous Beverly Hills hairdresser played by Warren Beatty, who juggles his relationships with several women while aspiring to open his own salon. His entanglements include his girlfriend Jill, his ex-girlfriend Jackie, his wealthy client Felicia, whose husband Lester is also Jackie's lover. As George navigates his chaotic personal life, will his inability to commit and his self-centered pursuits lead to personal and professional turmoil? This next film is a lighthearted adventure that combines humor and heart, making it a beloved Disney classic. The Apple Dumpling Gang is a comedy western film directed by Noman Tokar. The story follows a slick gambler named Russell Donovan, who is tricked into taking care of 3 orphan siblings in the boom town of Quake City, California. The children discover a large gold nugget, which brings them both fortune and trouble. As they navigate their newfound wealth, they encounter 2 bumbling outlaws played by Don Knotts and Tim Conway, who add to the comedic chaos. Now, let's shift gears with the iconic Jaws. Set in the summer of '75 in a peaceful town called Amity Island, Jaws was the #1 movie worldwide in 1975 and became the first film to gross over $100 million in theatrical rentals, thus coining the term summer blockbuster. With one of the most iconic music beats known, it also has one of the most iconic lines ever repeated.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Starring Roy Scheider as Police Chief Martin Brody, along with Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss, the trio are put to the test when a killer shark unleashes terror amongst beachgoers. Originally a book, written by Peter Benchley, this epic battle of man versus nature was directed by Steven Spielberg. The Rocky Horror Picture Show, I love this movie, follows newly engaged couple Brad and Janet. After experiencing car trouble, they seek shelter at the eerie mansion of Dr. Frankenfurter, a transvestite scientist. Inside, they encounter a host of bizarre characters and witness the unveiling of Frankenfurter's latest creation, a muscular man named Rocky. But what is the scientist's real plan? The film is a musical comedy horror that parodies science fiction and horror B-movies. It has since become a cult classic known for its eccentric characters and memorable music numbers, and is Tim Curry's film debut. We travel back in time with Barry Lyndon, directed by Stanley Kubrick. Based on William Makepeace Thackeray's novel, the film follows Redmond Barry, an ambitious Irishman who rises through 18th century European society by seducing a wealthy widow and assuming her late husband's aristocratic position. Barry's relentless pursuit of wealth and status leads him through various adventures, including military service and high-stakes gambling. But will his shameless actions and inability to adapt to his new life ultimately result in his downfall? The Man Who Would Be King, directed by John Huston, is an adventure film based on Rudyard Kipling's novella. The story follows two British ex-soldiers, Daniel Jervott and Peachy Carnahan, who set out to become kings of Kafiristan, a remote part of Afghanistan. They manage to gain the trust of the local tribes and are initially successful, with Jervott even being mistaken for a god. However, their ambition and deception eventually lead to their downfall, as the locals discover their mortality. Based on a Neil Simon play and directed by Herbert Ross, The Sunshine Boys is a comedy about two aging vaudeville comedians, Al Lewis and Willie Clark, who were once a famous duo known as Lewis and Clark. No, not that Lewis and Clark. After years of not speaking due to a bitter breakup, they are reluctantly reunited for a television special. Their reunion is fraught with comedic tension as their old grievances resurface, leading to hilarious and heartfelt moments. Willie's nephew, Ben, tries to mediate between the two stubborn men to ensure the show goes on. The Stepford Wives, directed by Brian Forbes, is a satirical psychological thriller based on Ira Levin's novel. The film follows Joanna Eberhardt, who moves with her family to the seemingly perfect suburban town of Stepford, Connecticut. Joanna soon notices that the women in Stepford are unnervingly submissive and obsessed with housework, lacking any intellectual interests. As she investigates further, she discovers a horrifying truth about being the ideal, obedient wife. Fun fact, Ira based the town of Stepford on Wilton, Connecticut, where he grew up. Set in a mental institution, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is directed by Milos Forman. The story follows Randall P. McMurphy, a rebellious convict who pretends to claim insanity to avoid hard labor in prison. Once admitted, he clashes with the oppressive Nurse Ratched, who maintains strict control over the ward. McMurphy's defiance inspires the other patients to stand up for themselves, leading to a power struggle between him and Nurse Ratched. 3 Days of the Condor follows Joe Turner, a CIA researcher who returns from lunch to find his co-workers murdered. As he tries to uncover the reasons behind the killings, he becomes the target himself and must hide from those responsible. Somehow he thinks kidnapping a woman and hiding out in her apartment is the best idea. This tense political thriller is directed by Sidney Pollack. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite film is based on a play. This next movie comes from the same director of Picnic at Hanging Rock is set on Valentine's Day, 1900. A group of schoolgirls from Appleyard College go on a picnic to Hanging Rock. During the outing, the 3 girls and a teacher mysteriously disappear, leaving no trace. The unexplained vanishings deeply affect the remaining students and the local community, leading to a series of unsettling events and unanswered questions. The film's eerie atmosphere and ambiguous narrative have made it a classic of Australian cinema. Do you enjoy films with mysterious and ambiguous endings? Let me know down in the comments. Lies My Father Told Me was directed by Jan Kadar and is a poignant drama set in 1920s Montreal. The film follows a young Jewish boy named David, who cherishes the time he spends with his grandfather, Zaida, a rag and bone man. David's father, Harry, is a small-time gambler and inventor, constantly seeking ways to get rich, which often leads to tension within the family. Through David's eyes, the film explores themes of family, tradition, and the innocence of childhood. This was Canada's International Best Picture of the Year. The Story of Adele H., directed by François Truffaut, is a historical drama based on the real-life diaries of Adele Hugo, the daughter of the famous writer Victor Hugo. The film follows Adele's obsessive and unrequited love for a British officer, Lieutenant Albert Pisson. Despite his lack of interest, Adele pursues him relentlessly, leading up to her travel across continents and descend into madness. Her fixation on Pinson and refusal to accept reality result in her psychological and emotional downfall. The Lost Honor of Katharina Blum is a German political drama directed by Volker Schlonendorf and Marguerite von Trotter. The film follows Katharina Blum, a young woman whose life is turned upside down after she spends the night with a man suspected of being a terrorist. The police and media launch a relentless campaign against her, leading to her public vilification. As the tabloid press distorts the truth, Katharina's reputation is destroyed, and she is driven to a breaking point. Sholay, directed by Ramesh Sippy, is a landmark Indian action-adventure film. The story centers on two small-time crooks, Jai and Viru, who are hired by a retired police officer, Thakur Baldev Singh, to capture the ruthless bandit Gabbar Singh. Gabbar had previously massacred Thakur's family and left him maimed. As Jai and Viru take on this dangerous mission, they form bonds with the villagers, including Basanti and Radha, leading to tense confrontations with Gabbar. Amici Miei is directed by Mario Monicelli. It's an Italian comedy drama that follows four middle-aged friends in Florence: Count Massetti, a nobleman, Perozzi, a journalist, Melandri, an architect, and Nietzsche, a bar owner. They all engage in elaborate pranks and escapades to escape their mundane lives. To them, their antics are a way of prolonging their youthful spirit despite their advancing age. But will the challenges of middle age overcome the bonds that hold the friends together? Dersu Uzala, directed by Akira Kurosawa, is a Soviet-Japanese biographical adventure drama. The film follows the journey of Captain Arsenev, a Russian explorer, who meets Dersu, a nomadic goldie hunter, during an expedition in the Russian Far East. Dersu becomes their guide, impressing the group with his survival skills and deep connection to nature. As they navigate the harsh wilderness, a profound friendship develops between Arsenev and Dersu, despite their cultural differences. Poachers, directed by José Luis Baró, is a Spanish drama that delves into the life of Angel, a withdrawn man living in isolation with his domineering mother, Martina, in the woodlands around Segovia. Angel, who hunts wolves to protect deer, meets Milagros, a young woman escaping her troubled past, and brings her back to his home. Martina's jealousy and possessiveness lead to escalating tensions and violence. Poachers was critically acclaimed, winning Best Picture at the San Sebastian International Film Festival. The Magic Flute, directed by Ingmar Bergman, is a film adaptation of Mozart's beloved opera. The story follows Prince Tamino, who is tasked with rescuing Prince Pamina from the clutches of sorcerer Serestro. Accompanied by the bird-catcher Papagino, Tamino embarks on a journey filled with magical trials and enchanting music. The film blends elements of fantasy and enlightenment, exploring themes of love, wisdom, and the triumph of good over evil. Bergman's adaptation is noted for its imaginative staging and faithful rendition of Mozart's score. Tommy, directed by Ken Russell, is a rock musical based on The Who's 1969 album. The film follows Tommy, a boy who becomes psychosomatically deaf, mute, and blind after witnessing a traumatic event. Despite his disabilities, Tommy becomes a pinball champion and gains a cult following, but his newfound fame leads to both potential and familial turmoil as those around him exploit his success. I have some honorable mentions and 2 more films to finish off this list. The Other Side of the Mountain, directed by Larry Pierce, is a biographical drama based on the true story of ski champion Jill Kinmont. At 18, Jill is the top contender for the 1956 Winter Olympics, but her dreams are shattered when she suffers a paralyzing accident during a race. The film chronicles her struggle to rebuild her life with the support of her family and friends. Despite her physical limitations, Jill finds new purpose and strength, showcasing her resilience and determination. And finally, Dog Day Afternoon, directed by Sidney Lumet, is a gripping crime drama based on the true story. The film follows Sonny Wartzik, played by Al Pacino, who attempts to rob a Brooklyn bank with his partner Sal. But the heist goes quickly sideways. They find themselves trapped inside the bank with the hostages, leading to a tense standoff with the police. As the situation escalates, the media turns the event into a spectacle, and Sonny's motivations for the robbery are revealed to be deeply personal. Thanks for checking out this birthday episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on what your favorite film from 1975 is. And as my father used to say at the end of every sermon, bon bienvenue.